I've lived in this apartment for almost 3 years. It's small, quiet. On the 4th floor, nothing special. But 3 nights ago, I opened a door I swear was never there before. And now, I can't sleep because I don't think I ever truly lived here alone. I've always noticed things other people don't. The flickering hallway light that always dies exactly at 2:03 a.m. The faint sound of a child's laugh when there's no child in the building. Even the way my bedroom wall creaks, like it's breathing sometimes. It's like my mind collects the forgotten details, the quiet ones, the ones no one else bothers to remember. So believe me when I say this, there was never a door at the end of that hallway. Not until 3 nights ago. It was 3:12 a.m. I know because I checked my phone. The blue light hit my eyes like ice. I was sweating, even though it was cold. My chest felt tight, like something had pulled me from sleep by the ribs. I thought it was just thirst. Or maybe the loneliness that sometimes sneaks in around that time. So I got up, bare feet on cold floor, soft creak of the wood, just silence and shadow around me. I walked down the hallway like I always do, but then I stopped because the wall I've walked past for 3 years wasn't a wall anymore. It was a door, perfect white, smooth. No scratches, no chipped paint. Like it had just been built, or had always been there, hiding from me. I stared at it. My skin went cold in patches, neck, spine, fingertips. I didn't move, didn't breathe. A part of me whispered, "You're still dreaming." Another part whispered back, "Then why does this feel more real than anything else?" My hand moved on its own, reached for the knob. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't even want to look at it. But something about that door pulled me, like it was waiting for me. The metal was cold, but not like a winter doorknob. It was dead, cold, like the air around a grave. And when I turned it, there was no resistance, no creak, just silence, and a room I'd never seen before. It was long, narrow, like a hospital hallway that had collapsed into itself. The walls were pale blue, almost gray, and in the center of the room, a chair, plain, wooden, facing the wall, not the door, not me. The wall. I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. The second the air touched me, it felt wrong. Wrong in a way my body understood before my mind could. Like gravity shifted. Like something was holding its breath. And the sound, a low hum. Like old TV static buried under concrete. It wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from inside the walls. I couldn't move. I just stared. I think I forgot how to blink. Then I closed the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't run. I just shut it. Quietly. Like I was scared to wake something up. I locked it. Twice. And for the first time in my life, I realized how terrifying it is to be alone, truly alone, and still feel like you're being watched. That night, I left every light on. I curled up in my bed like a child, clutching my phone, heart racing like it was trying to run away from me. And when the sun finally came up, I walked down that hallway again, but the door was gone. I didn't go to work that day. I just sat on my living room floor, staring down the hallway, trying to understand, trying to remember. But no matter how many times I walked back and forth, felt the walls, looked for seams or cracks, the door was gone. No marks, no frame, No outline. Just blank. White wall. Exactly how it used to be. I started questioning myself. Was I sleep deprived? Hallucinating? I searched phantom doors, architectural hallucinations, liminal spaces. Reddit was no. Help, just horror stories and memes. And therapy blogs telling me to practice grounding exercises. But deep down, I knew what I saw. And more than that, I knew it wasn't over. That night, I didn't try to sleep. I just waited. Lights off. Sitting on the floor with a blanket wrapped around me. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Even the neighbors' pipes weren't creaking like usual. It was like the building had fallen into a deeper kind of silence. One that made my breath sound. Too loud. At 3 a.m. The hallway grew colder. I didn't see it open. I just looked up, and the door was there again, like it had never left. I didn't move for a full minute. Then I grabbed my phone and hit record. It made me feel safer somehow, like documenting it would make it more real. I crept toward it, phone in hand, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. This time, I didn't open the door. I put my hand against it. The same cold. But this time, I felt something else. It was vibrating, not shaking violently. Just a low, slow hum, like it was alive. Like something on the other side was breathing through the wood. I whispered, "Hello." I don't know why. I didn't expect a response, but something inside me needed to say it. And then, from inside the room, I heard it. 3 slow knocks. Soft. Measured. Not on the door, but from inside the room. On the opposite wall. Like someone or something was answering. I ran. Not like in horror movies. No dramatic gasps or tripping. Just pure instinct. Back to my bed. Under the blankets, clutching my phone. I stared at the screen, still recording. And in the background, the door creaked open. Just a sliver. Then nothing. Dark. In the morning. It was gone again. But something had changed. I had changed. Because now, I didn't feel alone in my apartment anymore. Every room I entered felt like it was watching me. Like the walls had shifted. Stretched just slightly wider. Like I was living in a space that was no longer mine. I started sleeping with the closet light on. I stopped going into the hallway at night. I even started talking to myself more, just to hear my own voice. That weekend, I called my landlord, asked him casually if there had ever been remodeling done in the unit. He laughed and said, "Nope, not since the 90s. That place is like a time capsule. Creepy. Hup." And then he said something else. "You're the first tenant in there in over a decade. The last girl, well, she just kind of vanished." I couldn't stop thinking about what the landlord said. She just kind of vanished. Those words echoed in my head like a warning I didn't understand yet. I wanted to believe it was just a weird coincidence. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. That night, I barely moved. I kept the lights on, sat on the edge of my bed with the hallway in view, eyes wide, ears straining for the smallest sound. And when the clock hit 3:12 a.m., the air in the apartment shifted again. Heavier, denser, like the walls were closing in on my lungs. I stood up slowly and looked down the hallway. The door was back, but this time, it was already open. No sound, no wind. Just the same pale blue room, and that same wooden chair, Only now, it wasn't empty. There was a figure sitting in it. Still, motionless. Its back turned to me. I should have screamed. Should have run. But I didn't. I couldn't. My feet moved forward like they weren't mine. One step, then another. The hum in the walls grew louder with every inch I got closer. The kind of sound that makes your teeth ache. My fingertips started to go numb. When I was just a few feet from the doorway, the figure twitched. Not a full movement. Just a small, unnatural jerk. Like a puppet someone was learning to control. Then it began to turn. Not its whole body, just its head. Slowly. With a stiffness that made my stomach twist. And that's when I saw it. It had no face. No eyes. No mouth. Just pale skin stretched. Too tight across a blank canvas of a head. Like a person had been erased. I gasped. That tiny breath was all it took. The figure stood up. Its limbs moved like they were half underwater. Slow but deliberate. And even though it had no eyes, I knew it was looking at me. I backed away. It didn't follow, but something in my chest told me it could, if it wanted to. I slammed the door shut. This time, the wood felt hot. I locked it, but I knew it didn't matter. That night, I dreamed of hands crawling under my skin, of doors opening inside my body, of that faceless thing sitting just outside my bedroom, breathing through the wall. The next day, I called my mom. I tried to keep my voice steady, casual. Asked her if she remembered me talking about this apartment before I moved in. There was a pause on the line. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. Honey, we never wanted you to move there. Don't you remember? That building creeped you out the first time you saw it. You swore the hallways felt wrong. I didn't remember that. But now, I wonder if something made me forget. After that night, the door didn't wait for 3:12 anymore. Sometimes I'd find it open in the middle of the day. Other times, it would be shut. But the hallway would smell strange, like burned wood and wet cement. Once, I heard footsteps behind it. Not walking, pacing. Like something was restless, waiting. I started sleeping at my friend's apartment across town. I didn't tell her everything. Just said my place had a weird mold smell, and I needed to get out for a bit. The first night I stayed with her, I thought I was finally safe. Until I went to brush my teeth. There, on the bathroom mirror, was a single handprint, pressed flat, faint, almost like it had been left by something cold and not human. I wiped it off. It came back the next night. That's when I realized something terrifying. It was following me. Whatever was behind that door. It wasn't just bound to the apartment anymore. It had noticed me. And now it was curious. That week, I had dreams. No memories, but they didn't feel like mine. I saw a girl, maybe 22, maybe younger, standing in my hallway, screaming at a door that no one else could see. Then silence. Then the same girl, sitting in the middle of that pale blue room, crying. She whispered, "I'm still here," over and over, until her voice faded into a hum. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. That morning, I searched the old tenant records for my building. It wasn't easy. Most people don't care about renters who disappear quietly. But I found something. A girl named Marissa Lane lived in Unit 3B. Same as me, moved in. No record of her moving out. No forwarding address. Just vanished. I stared at her old ID photo. Brown eyes, sharp jawline, a tired but genuine smile. And the more I stared at her face, the more my stomach dropped, because I recognized her. She was the girl from my dream. That night, I made a choice. I went back to the apartment, not because I was brave, but because I needed answers. I needed to know what that thing was, and why it was pulling me closer. At 3:12, the door was waiting. This time, it wasn't cold. It was warm. Too warm, like a fever. I stepped inside. 1 foot, then the other. The air was thick. The hum louder than ever, like 1,000 whispers trying to speak at once. The chair was gone, but there was something on the wall now. A mirror, and in it, I didn't see my reflection. I saw her. Marissa. She looked straight at me. Her eyes were wide, terrified. Then, slowly, she lifted one trembling hand and pointed behind me. I turned around, and I saw. I turned. There was nothing there. No figure, no sound. Just the empty pale blue room, still, and yet watching. I looked back at the mirror, but it was just me now. No Marissa, no reflection but my own. Only it didn't feel like me. Something was wrong. My face looked distant. My expression, not mine. Like I was watching a version of myself I didn't recognize anymore. Then I noticed it. A second door. On the opposite wall. Hidden behind where the chair had been. It hadn't been there before. Or maybe it had, and the room hadn't let me see it. I stepped toward it, slowly. My hand trembling as I reached for the knob. It burned against my palm. Like it knew I didn't belong. But I opened it anyway. Darkness. Thick. Heavy. Like it wasn't the absence of light, but the presence of something else. I stepped in. The door shut behind me, and suddenly, I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was standing in a long, endless hallway. Floors like black glass. Walls breathing, actually breathing, like lungs stretching in and out, and lining both sides of the hallway. Doors. All different shapes, different colors. Hundreds of them. Some were open. Most were not. And from behind the closed ones, voices crying, whispering, some screaming. I turned to leave, but the door behind me was gone. Then I heard it. A voice right next to my ear. But no one was there. It said, "You opened the door. That means it's your turn now." My heart stopped. My throat tightened. I whispered, "My turn." "For what?" The voice responded, "To stay, so another may leave." And that's when I understood. The room, the chair, the mirror. It wasn't a place. It was a trap. A passageway for the lost, or the curious, or the ones who couldn't leave well enough alone. And someone always had to stay. Marissa. She had been trapped until me. Suddenly, I was back in the blue room, on the floor. Gasping, crying. The mirror shattered, and in its reflection, just for a second, I saw Marissa. She smiled at me. And then she was gone. The next few days were strange. The door hasn't appeared again. The hallway is quiet. The lights don't flicker. Everything looks normal. But I don't feel normal. Sometimes when I pass by a mirror, I don't see myself blink. Sometimes I wake up with dirt on my feet, and sometimes late at night, I hear a faint knock 3 times from the inside of my hallway wall. So, if you ever find a door where one shouldn't be, don't open it. And if you do, don't go inside. Because once you do, you'll never be sure who or what walks out in your place.